Lorette Nickel, and a very special guest, David Nidell, is with us, and he is going to be talking about this beautiful 1970s. I said 19 with a D.
I think you
on
said
the
19.
End. I think I heard myself say 19, but it's a 1977 Cutlass, and this has such an incredible storied history. And of course, we're at the Real Garage Life stage here in Kissimmee, the world's largest auction here at the Midway. And David Nidell, let's jump right into it and talk about this beautiful race car and the story behind it. How did you come into being the owner of Cale Yarborough's 3-time title-winning NASCAR?
Good morning, Lorette.
Hi. After all that.
It's kind of a crazy story. So the car was in a museum in North Carolina, and it was a kind of a small museum collection. The guy had about a dozen cars, and I got the car out of there. And gosh, I don't even remember the year. It's been got to be 15 years, at least.
Wow. Wow. So you have been the owner of this car. You saw it in a museum, and then you called up Mr. Cale Yarborough. How did that conversation go?
So that was really funny. So I bought the car, and I was going to take it vintage racing because I've vintage raced for the past 30 years or so. And I knew that Cale had a Honda dealership in Timminsville, South Carolina. And I was living in Europe at the time. And I just called the dealership and said, "Is Cale Yarborough there? This is David Nidell. I just bought one of his race cars, and I'm going to put it back on the track." And
wow.
They actually said, "He's only here on Tuesdays and Fridays, and he's here from 7 a.m. till about 10 a.m. So call back on Tuesday." So I did. And again, I was living in Europe at the time, and I called at 7 a.m., and he was on the phone in like 5 seconds when he heard I had bought his car and was putting it back on the track.
David, that's awesome. But what was the inspiration for this car? Because you picked a museum car. What was it about this one that stood out to you?
It's just a piece of history. I mean, you know, Cale was the first driver to win 3 consecutive NASCAR championships, and I was never a NASCAR fan. But the car is such a unique piece of history. He won in 76, 77, 78. In 78, this car had 10 wins. And it's when you vintage race cars and you can get something with that kind of history, you know, if you go buy a Ferrari or a Formula One car, you're paying millions of dollars for it, and you can get something like this with that kind of amazing history. I think the next driver that repeated that was Jimmy Johnson in something like 2006. Wow. So, I mean, Cale's one of the best drivers ever. Did you become good friends with Cale after this, after the purchase of the car? We actually did. So it was really funny. When I called him and told him the other, I actually thought he had hung up for a second because
he hung up on you.
No, I thought he did.
Okay.
It was like I said, "My name's David Nidell, and I'm calling because I've got one of your cars that came out of a museum, and I want to put it back on the track." And it was like silent. and I was like, did he hang up on me? What happened here? So then he says, "You know, do you like cars?" And I said, "Yeah, I love cars. Why?" And he said, "You know, do you want some other cars?" And I said, "Are they yours?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, I'm interested." And he said, "Why don't you come down to my farm next week?" And I was living in Europe. And I hopped on a plane, and I flew to, what's that hub in
Charlotte?
Carolina? Charlotte. So I flew from Amsterdam to Charlotte, and I got in a car, and I drove out to his farm, and I met him and his wife, and they insisted that I stay for dinner.
That's
and we hung
so cute.
We hung out for 4 or 5 hours and looked through his barns and looked at all his cars, and made a deal on another car that I actually bought from him and recommissioned as well.
Okay.
And yeah, we became friendly. We shot a video on this car. You might have seen it online. I don't know, but we shot a video when we recommissioned him and brought him back on the track with Cale. And he even went to the doctor that morning and got a shot in his back, cortisone shot, because he couldn't move around. So he went and did the shot so he could get on camera with us. So an amazing guy, and yeah, it was amazing. I actually tried to get him to go out and drive the car, and he just said, "Listen, I've traveled my whole life, and I don't want to leave my farm anymore." So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that leads me to my next question. What was the moment like for you? Because you bought this, you have this incredible race car with this storied history, and now you're bringing it back out on track. What was that moment like for you?
Honestly, it was scary as hell.
I can't imagine.
You're sitting there and you're going, if I put this into, well, it can all be rebuilt, but, you know, there are cars. But if I put this into the wall, and it had been restored by his crew chief, Travis Carter. So in 2001, I think it was, Travis Carter restored this car. And when they put the lights up in Darlington, and I think that was 2004, 2005, but the first race that they put the lights up, Lorette, Cale went and drove this car. And he drove it under the lights as a kind of commemorative that they were putting the lights up at Darlington, which is basically his home track, right?
Yeah, right.
And the funny thing is, when the first time I drove the car, I had the original motor in it.
Okay.
And
the original motor.
yeah,
Wow.
and I drove it, and the motor blew up like within you know, I want to say minutes, but I don't remember. It's so long ago.
Okay, wait. So Cale took it out to the track before you got into it. So actually, was it actually Cale that blew the motor?
Well, the guy who sold me the car said that they told him to take it easy, but he really kind of gave the middle finger and drove the car.
Totally.
And,
how do you tell a race car driver
yeah.
to take it easy?
And so I think the motor wasn't in such good shape, but anyway. I blew up the motor. We rebuilt it. Whatever. It's you know, it's a motor, and but it was pretty funny. And then the next time it got commemorated was Dale Jarrett drove it was it last year, I think, at Darlington when they did the commemoration for over Cale's, you know, over his life, and that was pretty cool too. They called me up and asked me if they could borrow it, and I let them. So.
Wow. And this is also, it's been in and out of museums too. Dale Earnhardt Jr. made a list of the top NASCARs, and this was one of them, right?
Yes, there was an exhibit in the NASCAR Hall of Fame Museum in Charlotte, and it was, I think it was called Glory Road, and they had the top 18 or so NASCARs remaining, and it was curated by Dale Earnhardt Jr. So he selected the cars that he wanted. This was one of them. It sat in that museum for about 3 years. I was out of the country for a long time, so I didn't race the car. And then, of course, COVID hit. And so the car hasn't been raced. I think the last time it was raced was 2015. And then it went into the NASCAR Hall of Fame Museum. It came back to me for a few months, and then it actually went almost directly over to Darlington, where they commemorated. It's been in the museum there ever since.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
it's been in the museum since 2015-ish.
Probably 2017, I think, and then back
17.
with me for 6 months or a year, and then you lose track of time.
Sure.
You know, you get old. You forget stuff.
You're not old. So is the car ready to race?
Yeah, but it would need a recommissioning. You know, I mean,
Right,
someone's
of
going to want to
course.
go through the brakes. You know, you always worry about an old race car. It's got old fuel in it. You have to, you know, drain the tank, put new foam in the cell, those kind of things. But yeah, more or less, it came straight off the track. So
Okay.
wow.
Wow.
It's good to go.
Yeah.
Someone's going to have some fun with that. You know, honestly, I really hope that if someone buys it here, I hope that they put it back on the track.
Amazing.
I really hope they don't put it in a museum. But if it goes, you know, I'm not going to race it anymore.
Sure.
So if it goes back to Darlington, then that's great.
Wow.
Those people are really nice folks.
Yeah. Can you imagine? That's like a full circle, real amazing moment right there. Do you think you racing the car was also a tribute to how much respect that you had for Cale?
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, it's funny because I wasn't, like I said, I was never really a NASCAR fan.
Sure.
And then I was like, okay, I get the opportunity to drive an historic car like this. I mean,
Yeah.
how many people get that opportunity?
few.
No one,
Yeah,
really. I
no
mean,
one.
you know, no one. I'm one of a million. I might as well play the lottery, right?
I know, exactly.
So I did that, and then I bought his other car from him, which was actually the his RCA car that John Andretti won the Pepsi 400 with at Daytona in '96. And at the time that he won that race, it was the fastest, I believe it was the highest speed ever around that track.
Wow.
And that's the other car that I ended up buying from Cale. and I recommissioned that one as well, and I drove that one for a few years, and that car, that car was fast.
Where is that car?
That car's sitting in Tasmania.
Tasmania?
Yeah, Tasmania.
You shipped it to Tasmania?
Well, we lived. My wife and I lived in Australia. We moved to Sydney in 2016, and we're there from 2016 to almost 2020.
Okay.
And we were running a business over there, and our lawyers for the business. No offense to lawyers, but the best lawyers I ever had, and the only lawyers that I that I trust in the whole world. They were fantastic, awesome guys, and they were car racers. And we used to go out and do stuff together and have a couple beers and talk about cars. And it was a Saturday, and I get a phone call, and I'm like, my lawyer's calling me on Saturday. I hope this is not a problem.
Yeah.
And I answer, I go, Christian, what's up? And he goes, you'll never guess what we did last night. And I said, what's that? And he said, well, me and my brother and my dad sat in our cinema room and watched the John Andretti race from 1996. And when we were done watching it, my dad said, you need to call David and see if he'll sell us that car.
That's why it's in Tasmania.
So, yeah.
So you obviously said yes.
I actually didn't want to sell that car because that car was a hell of a car. It was super fast.
Yeah.
And I think we got clock going 184 miles an hour at Fontana.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
Good
yeah.
for you.
Scary.
I can only imagine.
But that was a hell of a car. But he was a good friend of mine. I said, okay, this is great because I get it to go to a friend and he's going to drive it and all that stuff. So it's sitting in Tasmania, believe it or not.
Wow. Wow. So Cale's other race car that you bought is sitting in Tasmania with a good friend. And I would assume that Cale, we touched upon it a little bit earlier, that he became a friend of yours. What was one of the biggest life lessons that you took away from your relationship with Cale?
You put me on the spot now,
I
huh?
sure did. Sorry.
You know, it's amazing, and I do this in my business life too, but it's amazing how much impact one person can have.
Yeah.
You know, with the right attitude and the right fortitude, it's just amazing how much impact one person can have. And, you know, he's still, to this day, and he will be in 50 years, recognized as one of the top NASCAR drivers in history. And he didn't start there.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a testament to what someone can do with their life.
Yeah. Did you resonate a lot with his story of growing up and the fight that he had and where you are in your life?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, amazing. Why are you selling the car?
That's a really good question as well. I just probably, after I took some time off being in Australia and then with COVID where we didn't race cars anymore, and we just got out of the habit of racing cars, or, you know, we were doing probably 8 to 10 races a year all over the country. So we've raced, we've raced east to west coast, all the major tracks. We've taken this car to. It won an Enduro in 2014. We won the Enduro at COTA, at Circuit of the Americas, in this car. So it's, we're racing it all the time, and now I'm not racing it. And it's that simple. I mean, people can enjoy it at museum, but like I said, I want someone to take the car out and drive it.
Sure.
And that's what I'm really hoping happens. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. It's okay, because I'll keep the car for another 20 years. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But I just am not racing like I was.
Sure, that makes sense. If, let's hope, someone, the next buyer that takes this, buys this, puts it on the track, what should they know about this car? What's special about it? Besides all the things. Let's talk about the engine. Let's talk about the chassis. Let's talk about the seats.
The brakes aren't as good as the motor. Be careful. It's got the original Hurst Earnhardt brakes, and the RCA car stopped on a dime. I mean, it was a 96, which is old in race car years. I mean, the technology's come a long way in 30 years, okay? But that car could stop on a dime. This car, it stops in about half a lap. So you got to be a little bit careful. Sure. It's also I would say, relatively soft suspension-wise.
Okay.
And so it's just something that you got to get used to. But, you know, we've had some great times in the car. The car's done a fantastic job. The car was never crashed. It was never broken. We've got a nice video of my mechanic driving in at Indianapolis and passing a Porsche GT3 down the straight. It's pretty funny. And the driver freaked out. I mean, you could actually see him in the car kind of shake when the car went by him because it's super loud, right? And all of a sudden, at the end of a straightaway, here comes a NASCAR by him, and the guy's, you know, didn't know what to do.
Right. And what's under the hood?
It's a 358.
358.
Yeah, it's a 358 now. It's about 800 horsepower.
Okay. So I can see inside of the car, and there's all the switches. What is the start procedure of the car? Because I'm assuming it's not just a key and you turn it over.
No, it's pretty simple. I mean,
Really?
it's got an ignition switch, and
Okay.
you got to turn the power on. You turn the power on. You do not turn the ignition switch on. You hit the start button a few times to build the oil pressure, and then you flip the switch, hit the gas, and hopefully it pumps right off.
Okay. Are you, so to
You're not
that,
going to make me start it right now, are you?
Bree, could we? Hey, Bree, can we start the car? Yes.
We can try.
Okay.
I haven't started this, just so you know, I haven't started this car in like 10 years.
We'll give it a go. Are we okay with that?
You drove it here, didn't you?
Just no burnouts. But yeah, let's give it a whirl. Hello, guys. Hi.
Well, just stand back there, right here.
For my audio technicians, is this okay? We don't have anything sensitive, right? Oh my gosh, this is going to be so much fun. Yeah, let's start this baby up.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, fingers, knees, and toes. Oh, this is serious business. The jacket is coming off to start this car. I love one woman and several cars. Smart man. All right, this is so cool. I'm just going to get out of the way. What do you need, David? Okay, so he just said he needs to make sure the power's on. Is this an original seat? This is the original seat? This is Cal's original seat.
When we raced the car, of course, we had a full FIA current race seat in it, but when it went back to the museum, we put Cale's original seat back in it. So, kind of cool.
I love that. All right, I'm going to have you hop in the car, and then I might hand you the microphone, if that's okay, and you tell us what you're doing.
Okay, I got to remember what to do here.
It's been a little bit. He's becoming one with the car again. It's trying to turn over.
Battery might be a little low. I think the battery's a little low.
Okay. Can we get any jumper cables? Not handy.
Yeah.
Listen. All right.
Yeah, we need a battery charger.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, I really, really, really appreciate the effort of trying to start the car. And is it bringing back memories sitting in the car right now?
I want to drive it through the lot.
You want to drive it through the lot?
Can we get everyone off that street right there?
Like, all right, it's time to end.
Bring the battery,
interview.
guys, and let's clear up that street a little bit, and we'll do a couple burnouts.
That I would love that. I don't know if I can get permission to do that. But David, this has been amazing, and we are so, so grateful for your time and all of your insight. Is there anything else that you'd like to add about the car, your hope for its future?
Just like I said, I mean, it would be amazing if it went to a beautiful home where someone's actually going to take it back out on track.
Yeah.
But no, I thank you for your time, and this car's just been an amazing experience.
I'm so happy, and I'm so happy you're here. Thank you again. Ladies
Lorette.
and gentlemen, of course, David Nidell. My name's Lorette Nickel. This has been a blast. Hey, Kayla, thank you so much for joining us. More interviews coming up today. Don't go anywhere.